good week. I believe the last stream talked about was me overviewing different the different components of the Substack, and so here we are on a Saturday afternoon, doing a quick overview. I think this will be nice. Just a quick overview of the Substack piece itself. It will be a bit quick. Ironically enough, I have to go do a stock pitch presentation in 15 minutes. On Corsair, not the most original, but yeah, I think I could definitely do a stream on that pitch and the wonderful slide deck with the many boxes to handhold the audience. But so hopefully this will be pretty quick. But yeah, the title Battle Royale, Fortnite, Epic Games, Apple, makes sense. Yeah, nothing too original with that. Yeah, then this it's not the best sub. It's not the best description, but it really does capture larger questions about the space and the nature of these companies that control the means of distribution, and certainly, and as I put the note, I chose Apple just because of the the context with Apple, which with Apple and Epic Games, which certainly is a natural and eye-catching and certainly a recent event. But certainly Google is involved with Epic, and the same type of argument can be used with Valve, Amazon, and excuse me. I suppose in a roundabout way, perhaps Epic Games, although Epic Games doesn't seem to have that desire to be a closed-off system. Um, this talks about Apple, the gatekeeper, and just like some of the nuances of iOS as an operating system, suggests how it's very different from Android, and how you can't. It's very difficult to sideload apps onto it. And of course, that does lead to a benefit, right? Which is safer environment for users certainly, but at the same time, it comes at that it comes at a trade-off, right? And I think looking back, I should have made a parallel to how Apple and its what it's done to Facebook with ads and like being tracked. As really, Apple is selling ads. As yeah, Apple's selling ads as well. It's fine. Yeah, and Apple's selling ads themselves, and and so like, they're blocking out Facebook, which certainly is like a win, because certainly Facebook and its like Sandberg and Zuckerberg arguably have less public trust than say Apple with Tim Cook and company, but Apple's selling ads themselves, and they've kind of cornered off the market, and I suppose it's kind of similar to what Google just did to like the Trade Desk and everybody else by with their ad policy changes to just group users instead of having individualized, but to just group them, which kind of just smashed the rest of their Google's competition, like the Trade Desk. Here we go, like announcement, boom, down. And of course, some correlation with the recent sell-off with rates and all of that, but certainly something to keep an eye on. And then this just talks about some of the nuances of the actual legal discussion, and like a snippet that shows how testy the legal proceedings have gone with Epic or Apple in this case of like refusing to comply by not providing an address of a requested individual. Screamfire talks about how other companies have repeatedly mentioned Apple and Google's as risk factors due to the control over distribution networks, and specifically highlighting like Spotify, Facebook, creating documents in support of Epic because they're all in the same kind of conundrum. Talking about like the clear, just from like a business perspective, the clear advantage that Apple has, and therefore a disadvantage of like say Spotify, who has to eat the 30% tax in some way, whether by passing on to the consumer or eating it themselves and letting a profitability and the EBITDA and all of that take hits. And I said, yeah, I could have mentioned how. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. I could have mentioned the 15% that Apple has for like I believe like merchants or not merchants but developers of like under a million. But certainly in the grand scheme of like these publicly traded companies, it doesn't that's not really uh, coherent or important uh, for that point. And then the Panama Canal, I think, was just a good, timely point of like, the Panama Canal is a very crucial thing. I could have used Suez Canal, but Western Hemisphere gang. But yeah, the Panama Canal, and that's just kind of showing how like if you're not on the App Store, if you're not on the Play Store, you're kind of in trouble and accessing that range of customers and end users and that's how else are you going to get your MAU, monthly active user? How else are you going to get your transactions and revenue if you're a certain type of business and you need to be consumer facing and certainly that's that's really the big question at hand. Like, does Apple and Google or and Amazon and Valve and Epic to lesser degrees like who should the space be more regulated? It should just be like something that everybody has to bite their tongue and just like pay the tax, the 30% tax, and it's yeah, and I think I mentioned in this piece, how it's very difficult with current antitrust of like negative effects on consumers, and is Apple or Google are they like is Apple subsidizing like their own alternative? Like, is Apple offering a better price than Spotify? Or but is that difference only because of say like Spotify making up for the 30% tax they pay or surcharge? It's a very complex space that certainly I am not the most I'm by no means qualified to really opine about. And then yeah, just a humble flex about about me. Fortnite getting top 10 every match. I had two victory royales last night, so in solos. Yeah, yeah, in solos. But uh, yeah, Monday I'll be back to squads. And then just as a personal note, I mean, I think personally, I think like and most people probably, unless they have like some deep disgruntlement towards Epic for like Tencent or which I personally find a bit clickbaity and a bit asinine or conspiratorial. But yeah, I think Epic. I do think that just from a consumer standpoint, like Epic in this case was trying to offer better prices to consumers for in-game purchases and I think that's hard to fault. And I also think that Apple for its $2 trillion market cap, like they're not like they don't have like infinite amount of dev teams that can hammer out products that uh, hammer out products and apps and services uh, that would meet like every possibility and that create the vibrant ecosystem. And I think expanding access and reducing the barriers, I think is helpful. Of course, Apple and Google they deserve some form of compensation for maintaining the platform and having to deal with some of like the regulatory backends of say like a moderation, but but to have 30%, but to have a cut that severe, and I don't think like I don't think Epic or Spotify or Facebook, well Facebook has different gripes with Apple, but like Spotify or like Spotify also because like how like Apple Music is the automatic default and but but yeah, so I suppose like it's not a perfect fit, and Epic is kind of a cudgel. But we will see in May of this year when the trial starts, and I think this is arguably going to be a very fascinating story. And who knows, maybe if you're listening to maybe if you're trying to listen to like someone talk about the trial, maybe do so while playing a match of Fortnite, that's what I do during class. Yeah, I'm a very poor student, I admit. Which is bad as I have midterms coming up. But here I am. So definitely thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this hopefully you understand like the flow of the argument and just being raising questions and thinking about the larger questions at play about who gets to control distribution and should anybody, and of course the role that the companies that we know and love and that we use on our phones, and just think about how those companies fall into this larger environment and trend, and question at the end of the day. Certainly, we as consumers certainly have an interest in how these things turn out. So definitely let me know what you guys think, and if I missed anything, and certainly I certainly would love to hear feedback, because I certainly have my take and my biases, and I certainly love to be able to hear what you guys have to say. So thanks for watching, and continue to be safe, and hopefully it warms up or just stays warm where you are. And yeah, thanks for watching.